Yogis and Ogis, welcome back to Yogana. My name is Anna, this is Eric, and we're going to be doing a yin flow for the upper back today. So go ahead and hop into your comfiest clothes. If you have a block or something similar to a block, go ahead and grab one of those and we'll get started. So let's go ahead and begin in a tabletop position. So coming to all fours, just moving the block to the side for now. And then those knees are going to be right underneath the hips. The wrists are underneath the shoulders. And we're going to go right into thread the needle. So go ahead and first bring in that right palm towards the center line. You're going to inhale that left arm high. And then exhale as we thread it through. So that left arm is going to go right underneath the right arm. And then that right hand can either rest all the way towards the front of the mat, if that feels right, or maybe protecting the neck, so not moving the head at all. That right hand's going to go all the way behind you. So maybe resting the fingertips on that left hip point and settling in as long as it's not too much pressure on the left side of the head, the neck area. Otherwise, just keep that right hand grounded. Especially if you're going to be holding here for a few minutes. So maybe just keeping that right hand grounded for the first several rounds of breath, and then eventually reaching back behind you only if you feel stable. So we're going to start to get into the torso, just finding some twisting there. So wringing out any toxins, especially in the shoulder blades, just really feeling that twist in that space and just unlocking that area that might feel a little bit extra tight during this practice. So as you settle into the side, just maybe start to close down the eyes if you feel steady, or just find a soft gaze. And then really start to lengthen the exhales. So you really want to activate the parasympathetic system, just calming down the nerves and really finding that meditative space in this practice. Just to become mindful of what's going on just within your body and on this mat, rather than any distractions that might be going on in your life or your day or the week. Maybe even tuning in with those slow, gradual opening of the connective tissues, those deep areas that are hard to reach in your body. Yin just really starts to open up that space as we hold here. And then throughout this practice, I'm just going to give you a lot more space for quietness and stillness, just to really kind of practice bringing the mind back in as it starts to wander off. So maybe starting to take that right hand back behind you, resting the fingertips on the left hip if that feels right. Just making sure if there's any pain or tingling at any point, especially in that left arm that's kind of underneath you, just slowly press into that right palm above you and just unwind a little bit. So maybe that left arm comes to the left side a little bit more, the shoulder, or maybe just fully unwinds if it's a little bit too much. And just take your time easing into holding this posture for maybe longer as time goes on. But no rushing to get there, no forcing anything. Good. we're just going to start to deepen the breath here. And then start to unwind that right arm if it's behind you, pressing into the palm as we lift up the head, and unwind that left arm back up towards the sky, coming back through the center into all fours. So go ahead and as we transition to the other side, just maybe shake out the hips, find some cat-cows as you kind of notice the difference in both sides of the body. Good, and then eventually coming back to that neutral tabletop, we're gonna bring that left palm in towards the center this time. Right palm's gonna reach up, right arm extends, and then we'll thread that right arm through as we land on the right cheek, and then just settle into this side. So left palm maybe reaches forward, and then again, just start to lengthen the breath here. So again, just practicing bringing the mind back in if it does start to wander off of the mat somewhere. Just start to notice, become aware, and just gently welcome it back into your breath. Maybe just tuning in to anything that comes up in your body as we hold these postures. And same thing on this side. If you maybe took that left hand back behind you, maybe taking the same thing on this side, just reaching behind you over to the right hip point and really pressing that left shoulder open, feeling a deep twist. Again, not moving the neck at all, keeping your gaze steady or closing down the eyes. And just starting to unwind that left arm if it's behind you, planting it back down, pressing into that left side of the palm, and then reaching that right arm high again as you come back to all fours. So shaking out the hips, feeling the difference again in both sides, and then maybe making your way down to your belly. So just taking a moment here as you stack the palms, elbows come out wide. And then just shake out the hips side to side a couple times to really release in the low back space. Good. From here, we're going to move right into Sphinx pose. So just staying on the belly, we're going to prop ourselves up like a tripod. So have that block handy because we might use it here, we might not. Those forearms are grounding you here. Those elbows are a little bit wider than the torso and the fingertips are spread wide. So as we settle in here, the shoulders are really going to intentionally move down the spine into the shoulder sockets. And then the fronts of the hips are going to, the fronts of the hip bones are going to aim forward, kind of like they're shooting lasers ahead. And then we're really going to relax in the glutes and the low back space. So the low back is going to definitely feel some compression here, but the glutes are just going to make sure they're not tensed up at all. Just relax them there as much as they might want to kind of hold on for control. And then option to stay right here, really challenge your heart space to open up in the opposite direction. It is going to be a challenge no matter what, just to prepare your mind in that sense. Just know that it's a little bit of a tender, intense posture. But if you do need a little bit of relief here and support, maybe just grabbing onto that block and kind of having it nice and tall so that the forehead can settle in to the block and that back of the neck can stretch out. But otherwise, if you don't need that block, you want to challenge your heart to really open up from closing up all day. Maybe just see if you can hold here and tune into your breath to challenge your body to counteract the forward bends that we do all day, the neck from looking down at the phone or your computer. Really keeping those shoulders in check as you breathe, just letting them press away from the ears and just tuning into your breath. So even if you want to take your mind off the discomfort a little bit, just counting to yourself as you breathe can kind of help you focus elsewhere. So just maybe even inhaling to a count of 4, holding for a breath at the top, and then exhaling maybe for a count of 5 to 7 breaths out the nose. Just whatever counts that is to you. It doesn't have to be a second per count or anything. Just counting to take your mind off the discomfort. But just remembering you really are challenging your body and taking it to new levels as we kind of sit in the discomfort of anything that comes in life, but especially these postures in this moment, just knowing that you are pushing and stretching your body in new ways. And it does take us to new levels of awareness, flexibility. Maybe releasing some emotion that we have stuck in our body. Just becoming aware of what's going on, whatever comes up in the mind and the body. Just a few more breaths here. You got this. Keeping those shoulders down the spine. They might have started to creep up a little bit. Deep breaths, especially long exhales. And then staying here, if this feels good, maybe even lifting up the head if it's on a block, or pressing into seal pose. So taking those hands to the corners of the mat as you extend the elbows and even lift up the belly. So still relaxing those glutes as you get into this posture, this variation. Keeping the shoulders down the spine. Just feeling a little bit deeper of an opening in the heart and the belly. Good. Deep exhale as you lower down to the elbows. And then come back onto the stomach. So move that block out of the way, but still kind of have it nearby. We'll go back down into that crocodile as we stack the hands, elbows come out wide, forehead rests on the knuckles. Really shake out the hips here. So if you even want to bend in the knees and let them sway side to side, if that helps release fully, go ahead and do that. And then eventually coming back to stillness, coming onto the belly, and just taking a moment here to feel the echo of the posture. So just really letting whatever just opened up nice and deep kind of radiate throughout the body. So as you hold here in stillness, just notice what you're feeling, what sensations are going on in the body, in the heart, in the back, in the hips, in the mind. And then we'll just start to deepen the breath again. And press ourselves back up slightly. Go ahead and grab onto that block and maybe kind of have it not all the way up tall, but not all the way down either. So somewhere in between. So just having that thin side upright. And then we're just going to place the forehead on that. But so this is going to be a variation of thread the needle, but not in that tabletop. So we're going to stay on our bellies. Maybe start with that right hand just slightly above the block. As you press into the palm or extend the elbow, and then slide that left arm underneath. So if you want to stay here and settle in that forehead to the block, you're welcome to do that. To get a little bit deeper into the shoulder blades, finding that opening, maybe cross that right elbow in front of the left. So you're crisscrossing the arms. And then letting the forehead fall. So maybe adjusting here to a higher setting, maybe even at a slant a little bit. You'll kind of see as you get into it what works best for you. But just find your variation, maybe even adjusting as we hold this posture. Over time, you might start to open up a little bit more. And then again, as you settle in, just relaxing the glutes and really feeling that opening in the shoulder blades, keeping the shoulders down the spine. We'll start to deepen the breath. And then just start to slowly lift up that forehead. If it's settled into a block, maybe start to bring that right palm in if it's in front of you. And then we're just going to roll and find a little twist. So rolling onto that left side of the body, left side of the shoulder, the hip, and then unwind here, bending into that right knee. You're letting that right arm fall out beside you. So just fully unwinding here, finding that twist, unraveling that upper back here. Should feel really, really good in that right shoulder blade. And just opening up in the opposite direction. And when you're ready, slowly coming back through center and switching sides. So this time, maybe that left palm stays in front and that right elbow comes down behind or in front of you as it threads through that left arm, and maybe that left elbow crosses in front of the right. So kind of up to you what you do with that left palm. Either cross it in front of you, crisscross, or keep it planted straight ahead. And then as you settle in, the further those elbows come away from each other, if they are crisscrossed, the deeper, the more intense you get into the shoulder blades, but keeping them closer in towards each other, or maybe even coming towards the edges of the mat might get a little bit less intense. So just settling into the side. And starting to deepen the breath again. When you feel balance on this side, we'll go ahead and lift up the forehead and then start to unravel in the opposite way, rolling onto the right side of the body and then bending in that left knee as you bring it in, and that left arm comes out beside you. Good. Unwinding back through center, coming onto the belly, and then pressing yourself all the way back into a child's pose, but with the arms down beside you. So coming into a little ball, knees come together, big toes come together, arms come down beside you, And then just roll the shoulders in. Finish off in this little ball posture. So really let the shoulders relax. Those hips start to open up. Deep breaths here. And then feel free to stay here as long as it feels good. Repeat any postures that felt really good and stay there as long as you need to. Thank you all so much for flowing with me. Hope your back feels unlocked and renewed. Namaste. If you enjoyed this video and feel great, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next flow.